president, there are two elements to this investigation. It's the best way to think about it. There's a criminal element, which is the obstruction of the Russia investigation, and there's a counterintelligence investigation in which they're trying to determine whether he was in fact witting or unwittingly working for a hostile foreign power.
You said there's a criminal element and a counterintelligence? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
And we have to get, folks should know there's a difference. This is not about the collusion investigation. This is an investigation that was opened by the FBI. There's a distinction between Mueller and this, correct?
Yeah, I mean, Mueller inherits this investigation, but when they open the investigation on the president in the days after Comey was fired, the investigation itself had two aspects to it, right? Mm-hmm. The obstruction, and the object of that obstruction was the Russia investigation, right, in 2016. And then the second part of it was, the counterintelligence investigation. That's probably the best way to think about it. One of the things that concerned me about writing this story is that it's nuanced, and I thought it might get lost on the public because. If you talk to your average person, what do they think Mueller's doing, right? They think Mueller's investigating whether Trump colluded with the Russians, right? Right. Which is essentially, what I'm reporting here. I'm just telling you how it happened and what the circumstances were and what led to it.
I'm glad you said that because I'm trying to get there's a distinction there, and there's so much that goes on with the Russia investigation, so many elements. So on this one, where are we? You said that Mueller's going to inherit this, and he inherits this. What is the status of this investigation now, Adam?
Don, if I knew that, I'd be on TV hosting my own show. I'm kidding. I don't know what the status is, but my assumption is that Mueller will have, since he did inherit this investigation, he's going to, if he does write a report, he's going to have to. It would seem likely that he's going to have to answer that question. But more importantly, Don, I think the American public wants to answer that question, right? Mm-hmm. Doesn't the American public want to know if the president was in fact colluding or conspiring with the Russians, right? Isn't this what the Mueller investigation's about?
Right.
Isn't that the expectation?
Yeah. Adam, will you stand by for me, please? Because I'm going to need your help as we go through this. I would appreciate it, sir,
sure.
If you can. Okay, so let's bring in now John Dean and Juliette Kayyem. Good evening to both of you. I got to ask you, John, after reading this report and hearing what Adam said, just give me your initial thoughts.
My initial thought is that it wasn't just an accident that a special counsel was selected, that there was already a lot of suspicion in the FBI that there was deep concern about this president, enough to open a counterintelligence investigation. So it was a very small step to name or have a special counsel look into this issue of obstruction. Yeah. And it's probably expanded well beyond there today.
So let's talk about this, Juliette, you being a security expert. So as Adam said, there's a criminal element to this, and then there's also a counterintelligence investigation into whether the president constituted possible threat to national security. Connect the dots for us here.
Okay, so what we know from Adam's great reporting and others who are analyzing this, like Benjamin Wittes at Lawfare, is that the counterintelligence investigation that was started against Donald Trump was focused on the president himself. So this was no longer who in the campaign knew. This is Trump specifically. So just everyone take a step back. As the FBI opened a counterintelligence investigation on the president himself. The second thing is that we, and I do this on your show all the time, tend to think of the Mueller investigation in three different pools. There's the financial, there's the obstruction of justice, and there's the collusion, right, with Russia. Now what we need to think about is the collusion, which we tend to think about between Russia and Trump, and the obstruction of justice investigation, which we tend to think of as just a Trump issue, are they the same? I mean, in other words, does the collusion extend to things like the firing of James Comey? And that's a significant move. I'm not going to connect any more dots because we obviously don't know where the investigation went. But I will end with this point. How would a president compromised by the Russians behave? And give me any moment that in the last 2 years where Trump has behaved differently. And that's what I took away from this story.
So, Adam, you're there, right? Can I bring you back in?
Sure.
Okay, so I want to get the White House response because just moments ago the White House responded and said, this is absurd. James Comey was fired because he's a disgraced partisan hack, and his deputy Andrew McCabe, who was in charge at the time, is a known liar, fired by the FBI. Unlike President Obama, who let Russia and other foreign adversaries push America around, President Trump has actually been tough on Russia. Well, many people think that, they would say that Trump has been anything but tough on Russia. What do you say to that response?
I'm not sure that response has anything to do with my reporting. I mean, the facts are what they are. And if you think about what Jim Baker, the general counsel for the FBI, told Congress behind closed door, and we quoted from his testimony, it's really extraordinary thinking that the object of the obstruction, right, the possible obstruction, was the Russia investigation from 2016. And the act of firing Comey, he told Congress, was a national security threat. It was a national security threat.
John, to this response, why are the responses from the White House always a deflection or a push to, or